Okay, so let's dive in. We're looking today at, well, something I think a lot of us feel, but maybe don't always name.
Exactly. We want to really pause, take a breath maybe, and turn towards that quiet, almost invisible experience.
Yeah, that little ache,
Mm-hmm.
after you've swallowed your words again. That tiny whisper inside that says, oh, I disappeared again.
Mm-hmm.
It's not usually big drama, right? It's more like a slow erosion of me, I guess,
Yeah.
all in the name of keeping things smooth or feeling safe.
That's precisely the territory. We're exploring the hidden costs, the quiet toll it takes when you learn, often very young, to just fold yourself up a bit, to be smaller, quieter, more agreeable, just so you feel, well, safe and loved.
Let's make it really concrete. That scenario, I think we all know it. The tiny surrender. Like, say you're out for dinner.
Okay.
Somewhere nice, maybe. And you've been thinking all day about, I don't know, your absolute favorite comfort food dish. Let's say it's pasta.
Right, the pasta.
You see it on the menu, you smile, you're ready. You even start to say, I think I'll get the...
And just then, maybe your partner or friend leans in and says gently, "Oh, that one. Isn't that really heavy? Remember you said you wanted to eat lighter this week. What about the salmon? We can maybe share the salad."
Yes. That exact moment. There's that flicker inside, isn't there? That little protest.
Yeah.
But I want the pasta. I don't care about light right now. I want that.
Mm-hmm. The impulse is there.
But then, like, almost instantly, the other voice kicks in, or voices.
Yeah.
Don't rock the boat. Don't be difficult. It's just food. Don't make it a thing. And so you just you
Yeah.
smile, nod.
And you hear yourself say,
Oh, yeah, you're right. Salad sounds great.
and right there, that's the moment we're zooming in on. It's not really about the pasta versus the salad, is it?
No.
It's about contact, or rather the loss of contact. You are right there on the edge of expressing a real desire, a genuine piece of you, and you stopped it internally.
Yeah, you abort the mission. And it feels like, I tell myself I'm being considerate, right? Or easygoing, low maintenance.
We tell ourselves lots of stories to make it okay.
Exactly. Like I'm doing it for the relationship. But what actually happens inside me, there's this pile of unsaid things, unchosen things.
Yeah.
And it's just mine to hold now.
And it's usually not the whole you making that choice, is it? It's a specific part of you that takes the wheel in that moment.
Apart.
Yeah, a strategy that learned this move long ago. It wasn't your full, vibrant self saying yes to the salad. It was maybe the good child part, the one whose rule is don't upset anyone, ever.
Or maybe it is different from the peacekeeper. The one who thinks, okay, if I just give in on this small thing, everything stays calm and I stay connected.
That's a really important distinction, actually. They can feel similar, but they operate a bit differently.
How so? Because, yeah, saying yes when you mean no just feels bad. Either way.
Well, both might stem from a deeper fear, maybe fear of abandonment or disapproval, but the good child is often about immediate, almost reflexive compliance, just pure avoidance of any potential conflict energy.
Okay.
The peacekeeper is maybe a bit more strategic, almost like a subconscious calculation.
Good calculation.
Sort of, like this small sacrifice of my desire is worth the perceived benefit of maintaining harmony, of ensuring I'm still liked, still accepted. It's almost like an intellectual override of the gut feeling.
Wow. Okay, so this happens again and again, these tiny moments.
Yeah.
What's the cumulative effect? What's the cost you mentioned?
Well, that residue, that unexpressed energy from each tiny surrender, it doesn't just vanish, it builds up. Think of it like sediment settling.
Okay.
Over time, that pile of unsaid truths, unmet needs, it can harden. It forms a kind of wall. And here's the crucial part. That wall isn't primarily between you and the other person.
Real.
It's fundamentally between you and yourself. You start living from this implicit belief that connection, that love, requires you to shrink.
And that connects directly to that feeling, that profound loneliness you can feel even when you're with someone you love.
Exactly. You're lonely because you're not fully there. You've checked out.
So the other person is connecting with what?
Okay.
A placeholder.
Yeah.
A curated version of me.
A shadow, perhaps? A version that's easier, more agreeable, but not whole. And the real you is somewhere else, maybe watching from a distance.
And the body. You said the body remembers.
Oh, absolutely. The body keeps the score, as they say. Let's try this just for a moment. If you listening can, just notice. When you think about a time you did that, swallowed your no or your desire, what happens in your body right now? Do your shoulders creep up towards your ears? Does your throat feel a bit tight? Any clenching in your jaw or your stomach? Do you feel smaller? Or maybe a bit hollow inside?
Yeah, maybe a tightness in the chest for me. or like a pulling in.
That physical sensation, that's your organism speaking its truth. It's saying, something's wrong, I'm being overridden, I'm disappearing. It's tapping into that old survival wiring. If I take up too much space, if I'm too much, I'll be rejected, I'll be left.
Okay, but hang on. If this was, as you said, a brilliant survival strategy that actually helped us cope when we were younger, maybe in difficult situations, how do we just stop?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Because the fear that kicks in, the fear of being seen as selfish or difficult or demanding, that feels incredibly real. It feels like betraying this old agreement I made with myself to stay safe.
You've hit the core of it. We didn't decide this consciously. We learned it. It became automatic. You called them creative adjustments earlier. That's a term from Gestalt therapy. And they were creative. They helped us adapt.
But now they trap us.
Precisely. That brilliant strategy now costs us our presence, our vitality in the here and now. That reflex to say yes when your whole being is screaming no, that's the interruption of the natural cycle of contact. Think of it this way. You feel something, a sensation, an impulse, like wanting the pasta. That leads to awareness, I want the pasta. Then, ideally, comes mobilization of energy, getting ready to act, then action, ordering the pasta. And finally, contact or satisfaction, eating and enjoying the pasta.
Okay, that makes sense. The cycle.
When we swallow our truth, we break that cycle, usually right between awareness and action.
Ah, so the energy that was mobilizing, the energy to say, no, actually, I'd prefer the pasta. Where does it go? It feels like it just gets stuck.
It does get stuck. It doesn't just evaporate, it lingers. It hangs around inside, often turning into this low-grade hum of unease or dissatisfaction.
Is that why sometimes later, like hours later, I might feel vaguely irritable or resentful, but not even know why?
Very likely. That stuck energy needs to go somewhere. Since it couldn't complete its outward expression, it often loops back inward. It might fuel that quiet anger later, often directed at yourself, right, for not speaking up.
Yeah, definitely that beating myself up.
Or it shows up as distance the next morning. A kind of subtle withdrawal, maybe because you're grieving unconsciously the self that didn't get to show up at dinner. It creates that feeling you mentioned, watching life from behind glass. That hum is the feeling of self-abandonment.
Wow. Okay, that really lands. It shows why these small moments aren't small at all. Yeah, build up. So, if we start recognizing this pattern, what's the invitation? Because honestly, the thought of staying present in that moment, of actually saying, no, I want the pasta, it feels terrifying.
It is terrifying. And the invitation isn't to judge the fear, but to get curious about it. Gently ask yourself, what am I really afraid will happen if I stay? If I remain present and voice my actual desire?
Well, the obvious stuff. Their reaction. Maybe they'll get annoyed or think I'm difficult. Maybe they'll pull away.
Those are real fears. Fear of their anger, their withdrawal, the label of too much. But often beneath that, there's an even deeper fear, isn't there?
Yes.
Maybe the fear of what happens next. If I choose myself this once, does it mean I have to keep doing it? Does it mean facing the consequences, maybe renegotiating the entire relationship, facing the self that demands to be present?
Yeah. That's big. It's challenging that old safety contract. It means accepting that real connection, real contact.
Yeah.
It involves risk. It's not always smooth and easy.
Exactly. That's the liberating and scary truth. Real contact requires presence, and presence involves risk. But it's not about becoming demanding or aggressive. It's simply about reclaiming your right to exist fully, with your actual feelings and desires within the connection.
And maybe trusting that the people who genuinely care, they don't actually want the edited version.
That's often the hope, isn't it? That they love the real, sometimes inconvenient you, not just the peacekeeper.
So how do we practice this? Do I have to go back and have awkward conversations about pasta?
Not necessarily. The reclaiming often starts inside. You need to complete that interrupted cycle for yourself first, by turning inward, maybe right now or later today, and quietly, just to yourself, whisper that unsaid truth.
Literally whisper.
Or just say it clearly in your mind. I wanted the pasta, I didn't agree, that hurt. Whatever it was you swallowed, give it voice, even if only you can hear it. And as you do, just notice. What happens in your body? Does anything shift? Maybe your chest expands a tiny bit. Maybe those shoulders drop just a fraction. Maybe you feel a little wave of sadness or relief.
Maybe relief, like acknowledging it.
That's the energy moving. That's you making contact with yourself again, hearing yourself. That simple internal acknowledgement is powerful. It's where the return journey begins.
So if we pull this all together, the core message seems to be, we don't just passively lose ourselves in relationships. We often actively participate in our own disappearing act.
We abandon ourselves, sometimes moment by moment.
And we might even call it love, or compromise or being flexible. But maybe real connection, real love, actually asks for the opposite. It asks us to show up fully.
That awareness, that shift in perspective is huge. And if there's one thing to hold on to from our dive today, maybe it's this. You were never meant to have to disappear to earn love or belonging. You were meant to be met, right here, as you are. Which leads us to perhaps a challenging question to sit with, a question to maybe just hold gently without needing an immediate answer. Is this relationship, this dynamic, this pattern in my life, is it a place where I can be whole? Or is it mostly a place where I've learned I can only be small?
That's a powerful question. So the practice then, the takeaway for listening.
Yes.
Maybe it's just that pause. Next time you feel that familiar fold, that internal collapsing or silencing.
Just pause, take a breath.
And instead of automatically swallowing it down, maybe just whisper back to yourself internally.
I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here.
Feel what happens when you say that. Feel it land. That tiny act of turning back towards yourself. That's the start. That's real contact.